Hey folks, Anthony Skinner here, and I'm excited about our new series, the Enneagram and Team Building, and I'm excited to welcome our host, Cron. Ian, welcome to the show.
Anthony, how are you, buddy?
Good to see you. Hey, we were talking the other day. You have 7 people living in your house. You have 3 dogs, and you mentioned that y'all have a movie night once a week. You go upstairs and all get around the television. We've been watching movies here in the Skinner house. What's your last favorite movie that you've seen?
Well, we had a movie night last night, and in fact, we watched one of my favorites, which is Groundhog Day with Bill Murray.
Oh, I love that movie.
Oh, man. You know, for those who don't know, it's about this guy who gets caught in this perpetual time loop where he repeats the same day every day, you know, for what seems like forever, right?
A little bit like COVID. What? What's one of your favorite? Go ahead.
Well, there's this great line in the movie where Phil Connors, played by Bill Murray, says to his friend Ralph, what would you do if you were stuck in one place and every day was exactly the same and nothing that you did mattered? And Ralph goes, that about sums it up for me.
That is such a great flick, man.
Oh, I love that movie.
So good. Never gets old. Well, so we're talking about the Enneagram and team building, and let's start off by giving the folks a good definition of the word team.
Sure. So a team is a group of people with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose for which they hold themselves accountable. Now, that's a concise definition I picked up somewhere. And when I read it, I thought, that's great, but I think it's missing something. I would say a team is a group of people with complementary skills and diverse personalities who are committed to a common purpose for which they hold themselves accountable.
That's good.
Yeah, you know, not long ago, I heard a college psychology professor and consultant say, every team in the workplace has problems, and most of them are personality problems.
I have lived that.
We've all lived that in some fashion, man.
Right? Haven't we all?
In my experience, too, as a corporate consultant and Enneagram teacher, here's what I know. When you apply the wisdom and knowledge of the Enneagram, when you introduce it to teams into the workplace, it's amazing. You can dramatically lessen, sometimes eliminate personality problems on teams.
What are some of the things that you see, the impacts that you see as corporations introduce the Enneagram?
Wow. Well, that's a long list. It improves communication. It increases motivation. It promotes cooperation and collaboration. It reduces conflict. It prevents misunderstandings. It creates empathy. And it ensures that people feel seen, heard, and valued for their unique contribution to the team's efforts.
Such a powerful tool. So in this series, we're going to answer the question, what do I need to know and do in order to lead or work alongside each of the Enneagram 9 types? And today we are on the Enneagram number
9.
The Peacemaker.
The Peacemaker. Well, before we jump into it, I want to remind everybody that every type has an unconscious motivation that powerfully influences how that type typically acts, thinks, and feels on a daily basis. And it's vital for team members to know the unconscious motivation of their colleagues' type, or they won't understand their behavior patterns.
So what is the 9's unconscious motivation?
Well, the unconscious motivation of the 9 is a need to avoid conflict, preserve connection to others, and maintain a feeling of inner peace and neutrality.
So what can nines, their leaders, and their fellow team members do to help optimize the peacemaker's performance?
Okay, well, let's start with what happens on teams when 9s lack self-awareness. So we're going to start with the via negativa.
Okay.
An unskillful 9 will set aside their own desires, preferences, opinions, and priorities to merge with those of the group in order to fend off conflict, right?
Okay.
So rather than assert their own voice, their own points of view, they're going to merge with the group and sort of go along to get along. And of course, that's problematic on a team because we need the full energy and contribution of everybody.
Right. So that's a snapshot of the unhealthy 9. What about the healthy and the self-aware 9?
Well, you know, when 9s on teams are self-aware, they just brighten any workplace. They're tireless, they're low maintenance, supportive, non-judgmental, and inclusive people who build bridges and bring people together in a spirit of cooperation. If you need someone in the office who's an expert in reconciliation, someone who could be a great deal maker, find a healthy, self-aware 9.
So how do you help 9s become great team members?
Well, number one, you need to set clear expectations. 9s need clear expectations and performance goals. So give them specific tasks with specific deadlines to help establish the structure and routine they long for, and they do long for that.
Okay, that's tip number 1. How about another tip?
For crying out loud, ask their opinion. You need to encourage 9s to express their personal opinions and preferences rather than letting them just mirror those of the group.
Great. Okay, that's tip number 2. How about tip number 3?
Yeah, allow time for decision making. Because 9s can see and appreciate the perspective of everyone, they can solve problems and find the middle ground between different opinions, right? Mm-hmm. But they need time to process each point of view, okay? So don't ask a 9 to make quick decisions. You need to give them time. You know, you ask a 3 or an 8 or a 7 a question and they'll start answering it before you hit the period at the end of the sentence or the question mark. You need to give a 9 more time. They'll give you a great answer, but they need more time to make decisions.
That's so good. Okay, let's recap the tips. Set clear expectations, ask the 9 their opinion, and allow them time for decision making. How about some closing thoughts to go out on?
Yeah, well, we started off by talking about the movie Groundhog Day. And I don't know if you've watched any of these series about Bill Murray, but it's pretty clear to me that he's a 9 on the Enneagram. Mm-hmm. Just a classic 9. And I ran across a quote from him, and I loved it. He said, "I try to be available for life to happen to me."
Oh, that's beautiful.
And I thought to myself, not only is that captures sort of the peaceful, serene, beautiful openness that 9s have, and that I hope that they bring to teams, because when they do, it builds a stronger team.
Love that. Well, we love you 9s, and thanks for joining us on Enneagram and Team Building. Thank you, Ian, for all the wisdom that you've shared with us. And until next time, see ya.
See ya.